Welcome back into Rise Radio. This is not your average episode here on Rise Radio. This episode is actually part of a 5-part challenge that went down last week inside the portal, which is my free community over on Telegram. So the feedback that I received from this live event was mind-blowing, so good. And so I decided to share it with you here on the podcast. Saying that, like I said, it is a 5-part challenge. Each lesson builds upon the last. So make sure that you are listening to them in order. There's a couple bonus episodes or lessons in the mix as well. So I hope you enjoy this. I would love to hear how it lands for you. You can leave comments here. You can message me over on Instagram at the Jocelyn Dawn. And of course, come and join us inside the portal over on Telegram for free. And so you can get in on more free events like this and join into my insane community of visionary women building incredible lives. Okay, the link is in the show notes. I'm so excited you're here. Now let's get into this fun challenge called The Shift. See you on the other side. Welcome into day 3, part 3 of this 5-day identity upgrade challenge. I'm so excited for today's lesson. We are talking all about the mind. Okay, so we started with awareness. Remember that awareness is the only way to change anything, because without awareness, we don't realize there's something to change. There's something to upgrade, okay? And like I mentioned before, there is a linear, organized pattern here. If you did not listen to part 1, awareness, or part 2, spirit, and you're here listening to me right now, please stop the recording and go and tune in to part 1 first and then part 2, because these are in order, okay? Doesn't make sense to listen to today's conversation without first listening to yesterday's and the day before. All right, now that we're on the same page, so we started with awareness. Then we moved into spirit and realizing our true potential. We realized that we're more than human, that we are spiritual beings with infinite potential. We realized that lack is man-made. This is all closely, it's all awareness. It's all information. And the more we can become aware, the more we can change, the more we can upgrade, the more we can consciously and intentionally choose differently. Right? Because without awareness, nothing changes. All right? We realize there's no lack, only confusion and avoidance. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because when we say, I don't know, we're coming from the human, right? Like we talked about yesterday, or my human is out, right? I don't know is my human doesn't know. Our mind only knows, listen to this, get this. Our mind only knows what it has learned. Information that it has learned. So it is extremely limited, right? That the human mind, although it is the most incredible tool on this planet, basically, holy shit, it is limited because it only knows what it has learned, what it has experienced. Okay, so the mind is limited and it is itself a limit. Why? Because our perception is based around that often, right? So our mind is a limit and it is limited because we will often perceive through our mind. We will think logically about things, but we don't want our mind to limit us. That's why we build awareness that we are so much more than this human body and this human mind. Right? So when we're actually saying, I don't know, that actually shows us, my human's out. I'm trying to figure it out again. Are we following? I don't know. Okay. My human doesn't know. Great. But guess who or what does? My soul, my spirit. The spirit, the soul is always for infinite, fuller expression. Okay, it's always for more. There is no lack. The mind creates lack. It creates limitation. It creates it because it's what it knows. It's what it's lived through. It's what it perceives. It's what it has experienced, right? So it creates lack. The spirit, the soul is always for infinite potential and fuller expression. There is no limit in the eyes of the soul, if the soul even has fucking eyes, all right? There is no limit there. So we talked a little bit about yesterday being a spiritual being with a human, having a human experience, with a human mind and human body, right? But when we can come out of the mind and not let the mind's perception and the mind's ideas run the show, like majority, if not every single person almost, lives their life through their mind, through logic, through masculine, linear, hustle grind, A to B type situations. Okay, when we can realize that's not the only way. And when I say I don't know, it doesn't mean that I actually, it means my mind doesn't know. My human doesn't actually know. But what if I can tap into the source of infinite creative potential? Infinite creative potential. What is that? Well, we talk about the quantum field sometimes. Honestly, there's so many different names for it. The universe, God, source, creator. What other names do we know? Alternate dimensions, like, my gosh, there's so many. So when we can actually come out of the human experience, out of the mind and into the realms of infinite potential, and realize that I don't know is coming from a human. Okay, what if I did know? Right? This is where decision making becomes very important, because if we don't know where we're going, how the fuck are we going to get there? Okay? This is like getting in your car and just putting on Google Maps and just driving, and then getting frustrated because you're not there yet. Well, you forgot to program the map to where you want to go. So the first step after, I don't even know if it's like after awareness. Awareness is a non-negotiable all the time and will never end. We're always becoming more and more aware. All right, so the first step is making a decision. Where do you want to go? And now that you know that you are not your circumstances, you are not just a human being having a human experience where life is happening to you. You are not the limitations of your mind and what you do or do not know. You are not your past experiences, everything that happened, everything that everyone said, every time you fucked up and fell on your face. You are not any of that. Now that you know that, I want you to make a decision. That's your homework today. You need to make a decision. Where are you going? What are you creating? Where is your pin on that Google Maps? What is your pin? Where's your pin? Okay, where are you going? Because if you don't know where you are going, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get there. You got to know where you're going. So making a decision. Most people, you guys have heard me say this a million times, most people struggle to make decisions. They really actually suck at making decisions. And it takes them a while. They got to sit and ponder. They got to ask their friends for, what their thoughts are. They got to go speak with their husband. They got to sleep on it, right? They're really slow to make decisions. And then they almost always change their mind. Almost always change their mind. Okay. Successful people who actually are successful, who have achieved and are achieving their dreams and goals and desires, they know how to make decisions. And like I mentioned before, I think it was yesterday I mentioned, decision making is a skill that we're not taught in school. Okay, we're not taught in life even. Most people don't know how to make a decision at all. They don't know how to make a decision. So decision making is very, very important. Okay. And so Why do most people not make decisions? Because they believe they don't know how. That is the biggest one I hear. I don't know how. I'm not good enough, right? What if I fuck up? They're afraid, right? So I want you to ask yourself, why am I, if you feel like you are, avoiding making a decision? What am I afraid of? What is holding me back from making this decision? So I just want to say something here, that decision making is a skill. Yes, we talked about that. But what I find is that people making decisions, like even if you're here listening to this, the decision that you're making is probably like just a little skinny piece of what's actually possible for you right now. Okay, remember that our perception is extremely limited because of our mind, because of our mind's limitation, our mind being a limitation. So from where you are right now, what you perceive as being possible for you is extremely limited. Okay, there is always more to become aware of. Even if you are a multimillionaire, there is always more to become aware of. There's always more abundance. There's always more wealth. There's always more service that you can do. I don't want this to sound like you need to be like an obsessed, overworking, like freak. This is, the understanding is that, there's also something else coming up here, is like, I don't want this to sound like you're on like this infinite hamster wheel that never fucking ends and you can't relax. That's not this at all. It's not this at all. Okay, but I do know that we're going to talk about imposter syndrome in a little bit, and we're going to talk about expanding what the nervous system can hold, our capacity to receive and to hold new realities, right? I do know that we greatly limit ourselves, and often what happens is we will get to a certain point and then we will tell ourselves, well, I'm selfish to want more. Okay, I'm selfish to want more. That's interesting, because the more we have, the more abundance, the more success, the more happiness and joy and love and community, the more whatever it is that we have, the more we have to give. The more we have to serve, the more overflow we exist in, the more light we have to share with the world. Okay, I hope this is landing. This is making sense. Okay, so coming back to decision making and why most people don't make decisions is because they believe they don't know how. The really cool thing is that you actually don't need to know how, right? You don't need to know how. My motto is fuck the how. Like I'm writing a book right now, fuck the how, okay? Because when we say, let me think for a second. The only prerequisite, Bob Proctor used to say this a lot, the only prerequisite to making a decision is the desire. Desire is the only prerequisite. You don't need the money. You don't need to know how. You don't need the connections. You don't need the knowledge. All you need is a desire. Okay. And Bob Proctor, again, he's a great guy. What was I going to say? He used to say there are 3 types of goals. Okay. There are 3 types of goals. The first type, the A-type goal, is a goal that is something that you can obviously do, right? It's something that, you can piece it together, A to B to C to D, like move the pieces around, and you're like, yeah, I can do that. It's totally achievable. You can decide it and like plan it all out, and you can totally achieve it. That's an A-type goal. Okay, a B-type goal is something that's a little bit stretchier, but it's something that maybe you've done it in a different way before. Like you still know logically, and your mind can actually like comprehend how you can get this done, how you can achieve this goal. That's a B-type goal. A little bit stretchier, you're like, ooh, this makes me a little bit nervous, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I can kind of logically piece it together, and like maybe over a span of 5 years, if I like budget correctly and, like blah, 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 I can see how this could work out. That's a B-type goal. That's not where we want to hang out. Okay, so when I'm asking you to make a decision, I'm talking about a C-type goal, a C-type decision. C-type is the one that even writing it down, you're like, holy fuck, imagine that could be my reality. Oh my God. So when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, I ask you, what would you love? If there were no limits, at all. No limitations. What would you love your world to look like? What would you love your life to look like? What would you love your business to look like? It's all so connected. And trust me when I say, over the years, I've spent a lot of time on each of these, focusing on each of these pieces until I came to where I am right now and realized it's not separate. Businesses, entrepreneurship, right? Love life, relationships. It's all connected. It's all the same thing. Fulfillment, joy, happiness, money, wealth. It's all intricately intertwined. It's not separate. Okay. So when I'm saying if all things are possible, what would you love? That's what we're talking about. That's where it gets to be so fucking fun. And it's something that makes your like hair stand up on your arms. You know, you're like, oh my God, I would love that. Right away, usually what happens, the mind comes in. The pity party, right? Whatever we want to call it, like the asshole committee. They come in and they're like, yeah, but you're not good enough. Yeah, but you haven't gone to university. Yeah, but you don't have enough money for that. Yeah, but blah, 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 blah. Like they could literally write a freaking novel on this garbage. It's all information that you've collected over your lifetime. Bob Proctor used to call this the paradigm, you know? It's not separate from you. It's who you have been believing you are. It's who you have been believing you are. But the really cool thing is you right here and now can change your beliefs. That's what we're doing here over these 5 days. You can change your beliefs in a second just by choosing to do so. I don't believe that garbage anymore. All right? So fun, right? So all of that noise is just information that has been stored in your body for a long time. And because it has been stored in your body, it has become part of your perception. It has tainted your perception, the way that you see the world. Okay, and then you have been reacting to that perception, the way that you see the world, the results that you currently have or had, the circumstances, the people around you, the numbers, the analytics, the numbers in your bank account, right? The money in your wallet, you have been reacting to that result that was a result of your perception that has been tainted by information from your past. Are you following me? I feel like I need to draw this out. My God. So good, right? So this is all awareness. We're just recognizing, holy shit. I have been believing that this what I can perceive and experience through my 5 senses is real. It's not. It is material, yes, and it is solid. We can feel it, experience it, but it's information. It's a result that we created. All right. And I don't want this to get twisted. I do not want you to say, I did this, it's all my fault. I got myself in this situation. I did this to my kids. I fucked up in a big way. How did I manifested this injury. I manifested this illness and this disease. No, you did not. Okay. You did not. That's not what I'm saying here, and that's a deeper conversation. Okay. So we want to make a decision that is a C-type decision. It is the one where you don't know fucking how. You don't know how. I've said before, and there's books written on this, 10x is easier than 2x. What does that mean? Okay. This is a similar concept because an A-type goal or a B-type goal, the one that you can logically masculine figure out, you can fucking hustle, grind it, put it together, that is a very linear approach to achieving. That is how most of the world operates. Okay, and when I say most, it's like most, like almost all. Anyone outside of this space If you were to tell them what you're thinking, any sort of this C-type dream goal stuff, they would be like, you are fucking crazy. That is not possible. Don't waste your time. I don't want you to get hurt. They love you. They want to keep you safe, right? They're saying those things. But inside this space, that's why I'm constantly encouraging you to get in here, get loud, claim it, take up space, upgrade to VIP, let it fucking rip. Like, this is the place to be completely vulnerable, raw, real, unhinged, okay? Because we are the dreamers, and we're the ones that are going to congratulate you and shine light on you and celebrate you and hold you even higher and hold you throughout the entire journey to the manifestation of that desire in the 3D physical world, because it's possible. I do it all the time. This is the work we're doing here. Okay, so where was I? I keep going on these little side rants here. Let me know if you're loving this. Like, let me know. You can heart this voice note. Drop your takeaways in this group. Like, let's build community around this. The more that you put into this space, even if it's just, this landed, this piece of this landed, like, let's go put it in the group chat here. This is what we're here for. Okay. This is not just entertainment, although I know I'm kind of funny to listen to sometimes, and also probably like, what the fuck are you on about? Okay. I love this. Absolutely love it. Okay. So coming back, decision making. We want to make a C-type decision, a decision that fucking pushes the norm, the 10x decision. The 2x is the A-type goal, the B-type goal, right? That is the masculine hustle grind. That's how the rest of the world works, not in here, right? That's where I was. Okay, the C-type goal is the 10x. Why is 10x easier than 2x? Because it requires an identity upgrade. It requires a shift in your entire inside world. It requires a program override, that Control-Alt-Delete situation, right? That's what a 10x requires. That's what a quantum leap requires. And that's why you're here. Because women like us we have big fucking dreams. We are here to live big, bold, beautiful lives, and we're here to do it in joy, peace, effortless flow, abundance, passion. I don't want, and I know you don't want either. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to stress. I don't want to figure anything out. I don't want to work really fucking hard. I don't want to reverse engineer anything. I don't. And so I don't. I actually don't. Everything I do is in flow, is intuitively in spirit, inspired action. Everything I do in my business is fully backed up by my energy. I did a post last night on social media. It was a little bit vulnerable. I was like, I don't know if I should do this. It's kind of lame, but also I really want to shine a light on this, because leadership is not just the fucking highlight reel and the finished product. Leadership is showing the behind the scenes, the fucking wobbles, the question, the fear, the tears, the I taught 52 masterclasses and I'm still fucking here situation, right? And the reason I'm saying that, sorry, my mind's all over the place today. So much is coming through. is I totally lost my train of thought. My God. I posted that post last night, and what was I talking about? Anyway, it was being vulnerable. It was sharing about the wobbles behind the quantum leap, and how, it's a journey, and it's not gonna be, people have this false, belief and idea of what actual quantum leaping is. And sometimes people box it up and put a bow on it and pretend it's this really airy fairy, easy thing to do. And although there's nothing hard about it, right? When you are upgrading your identity and it's who you are, you stop becoming, you stop telling yourself it's something in the future, and you are that, it's actually very effortless. But there's definitely times where the wobbles come in, the contrast comes in, right? And I know more than anything that the moment that I feel, that's what it was, sorry. I had started feeling a little bit like, I felt like this weird feeling when it was coming to the shift, like the event was coming closer and closer. And I was like, oh, something's off and I just can't put my finger on it. And my intuition, like I said, my intuition is my compass in everything I do. Okay, so if something feels off, I listen to it, because I don't do anything in my life or in my business that feels abrasive. If it feels hard, I'm doing it wrong. If it feels hard, I'm doing it wrong. How cool is that? How freaking cool is that? Okay, so that's why I mentioned the post, because I shared how I was feeling a little something, and then I decided to sit with it and actually fucking face it instead of sweep it under the rug and tell myself, no, like, fuck off, it's totally fine, just do it, just power through it, just, you can do this, you do it all the time, prepare the slides, do the fucking lessons, like, do the thing. Instead of doing that, which I totally could have, and once I'm in the flow of it, it totally does switch around sometimes, and it does feel amazing once I get into it. But I listened to it this time and I decided to pivot, because I was like, you know what? Who makes these fucking rules? Do I have to do 3 live videos per event that I run every single time? No, I actually don't. I've decided right here and now that I don't. I get to follow whatever feels good. Maybe sometimes I will do live videos, right? But for this one, I decided to pivot and move it into audio. And audio is my favorite way of delivering and channeling this information. So here we are. And as soon as I shifted that energy, this is really important. As soon as I shifted that energy, everything changed. I felt like a weight was lifted off my shoulders. And then 2 people upgraded into the mini mind. I woke up to 2 people inside the mini mind. That's not a fucking coincidence. That was because I got clear, I made a decision, and I fucking went forward with it. Okay, if I would have stayed in that, like, oh, I don't know, registrant numbers are lower this time. No one's looking at my posts. I don't even know if I should do the event. No one's in the mini mind. Like, what am I even doing? Nobody even cares. I don't even know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? It's so fucking easy to make a story up about your results, right? It is so easy. So I want you to catch yourself. That's what we've been doing the past few days, building massive awareness, recognizing my person is out, my human is out, catching yourself and making a decision. Because once you make a decision, that I don't know disappears. Holy shit. Every single time you make a decision, I don't know disappears. All right, so I want to share my experience. One big decision that I made, that I talk about all the time. Shared a little bit about it yesterday. Okay, let's rewind the time for a second here. I was there, living in government housing. My 3D physical world was, very much lack limitation. I had made up a lot of different stories around, I have no friends because no one wants to hang out with a single mom. Like, I don't want to take from anyone else. So I'm just going to, not put myself in situations where someone might be called to buy my tea for me or something. I just literally had made up all these stories of why I needed to be alone and why my results, my circumstances were my fault. And how nothing was going to change. Like, I had decided for so long that one day things will change. One day my business will grow. One day people will take me seriously, right? One day I'll show my babies the world. I wanted to do that ever since I conceived my son, right? One day. It never fucking comes until I made a decision. Okay, so Bob Proctor, again, bringing this guy up, he used to say there's 2 ways to break a paradigm. Okay, what is he saying there? There's 2 ways to upgrade your program, your computer software. Okay, there's two ways. The first way is through repetition. It's through telling yourself a new story again and again and again and again. Okay, we're going to talk about expanding the capacity in our nervous system in a second here. That's the first way to break out of the routine, the habits, the program, expand the perceptions, is through telling yourself a new story again and again and again. Anytime there is, different, your results, the contrast shows up, anytime something shows up in your world, you just tell yourself again, okay, that's not my reality. This is. I live on a beach in Costa Rica. I am a multimillionaire. I wake up to payment notifications every single day. Like, I am a light. I get invited to speak on stages. I get paid big money to speak on stages. I am a published author. Like, all of these things. You can tell yourself a new story, and eventually what will happen is you will begin to override the old program. That's not to say that the old program won't show up from time to time. We all are human. We all still have our wobbles and our fumbles, and we all still have days where maybe we're like, whatever, you can blame it on the fucking moon and stars and planets and retrograde this. And then you can blame it on the hormones. You can blame it on someone else outside of you. Like, whatever it is, we don't need to be pointing fingers. We can just surrender to the fact that, today I'm feeling this certain way, and I'm not going to make a house here. I'm actually going to shift it, and I'm going to give myself grace, and I'm just going to recognize that I'm just going to rest a little bit more today. I'm going to take care of myself a little bit more today, and know that every time, actually, this is what I do. And this is what I was getting at, actually, when I was sharing the story of the social media post and like being vulnerable and talking about the shift. And, when things feel thick, when your environment starts to show you the contrast, which is the opposite of what you want, when the noise in your head starts to get really, really fucking loud, this is a sign that you're on the edge of a completely different experience. And it is your opportunity in the thick of that contrast to actually choose. So you can choose to give your power away to the contrast and subscribe to it and say, yeah, what was I thinking? Who am I anyway? Right? You're right. It's not fucking working. Right? You can subscribe to it and give your power away to it and literally succumb to what was. Or you can see the contrast as an opportunity to say, you know what? I see you. I honor you. I bless you. I love you. And I'm so grateful for you. But I know what's on the other side of this. This is where I'm going. We recommit to that pin on the map, right? Readjust our compass, and we choose that. And what happens every time we do, in the thick of that contrast especially, fucking magic happens. Like, we have this massive realization out the other side. It happens to me all the time. And I upgrade and move so quickly that this is like this contrast, feeling taken over by the contrast, happens often for me. But I know now exactly what it is. It's an opportunity to again move through and unlock this new level. I almost see it as like a video game. I was never one for video games, but like, you go through and that's like your checkpoint. It's like your next level, right? It's so fun. And maybe on this next level, you have a cape now. It's like fun things like that. Life is a game. Okay. So, bringing it back around. Decision making. So I hope you see now that, there was a second one there. There was a second one. That's where we were. So we talked about the first way to break that program, to shake up the norm, right? To break the paradigm, as Bob Proctor would say. The second way, so the first one was through repetition, right? The second one is through drastic emotional impact. It's through something huge happening and shaking you to your core. Okay, sometimes most of the time, it's something that's really detrimental. It literally changes you, right? Like for me, I had a car accident with my baby in the car. I was on the way to pick up my little boy from forest school. Black ice. We wrote the car off, but the car crash itself wasn't that bad. It was more so like trying to get off of the highway when there's buses and semi trucks and all sorts of vehicles sliding on black ice towards you from all directions with trying to get your baby out of the car. So it was that moment on the side of that road that day that I decided, fuck this. Like, this is my breaking point. I am shattering that glass ceiling. I'm so done. And like, words can't even express that decision that was made that day. That's what we're talking about. You need to make a decision that is like, I burn the fucking bridges. That's what I said to people, like, upgrade to VIP if you're ready to burn the bridges. If you're ready to declare the point of no fucking return, because we're making decisions, we're investing in ourselves, we're investing in our ideas and our dreams and our businesses, our hypothetical businesses even, and we are declaring the point of no return. That's what I did on the side of that road. I decided that my results no longer own me. I was no longer going to continue to live up to my old standards. I was no longer going to allow my family to hold me back. I was no longer going to believe the lies that I'd been telling myself for so fucking long. Looking back, my kids at that time were 3 and 1. Okay, I was living in government housing. I had no clue where their dad was. I was literally just getting by. Like, I had my own online business at the time, selling a product with a company, and that was my saving grace. Honestly, I started to expand my perceptions of what's possible through that business opportunity, because I began to see what was actually possible within it. And I started to believe differently. What if this could actually be different? What if this reality and these results that I've created right now didn't need to be my reality any longer? What if I could actually change this? And I started to question, I started to ask what if. And then that's when my perception started to shift. But I was still living in Laterland. I was still like, one day that'll happen, one day that'll change, one day my business will blow up, one day. But I wasn't taking any different action. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to talk about taking new action. We're going to talk about embodiment. So then that car crash helped me to make that decision. That was the last fucking straw. I made the decision. This is what I'm doing. I'm leaving Canada before the next fucking winter. And I don't know where I'm going. I don't know how. Remember, the 10x is easier than 2x. This decision resulted in a massive internal upgrade. And that's what you're doing here through listening to me and through integrating this information. Okay, you need to make a decision. And it's not just like a decision with a plan B, or a decision and then if that doesn't work out, I don't know, like, let's just try it out for a little bit. You got to burn the fucking bridges. Okay, there's got to be no plan B. This is a decision that shakes you to your core. It fucking scares you. And then you make that C-type, make sure it's a C-type. In Bob's words, it sounds kind of weird. C-type decision where it's that 10x, because you cannot figure out your way there. You must upgrade your program, your inside world, your identity. You must upgrade who you believe you are. And as a result, your habits, your thoughts, your beliefs, your tendencies, your perception, all of it shifts. But you've got to make a decision. This is something I can help you with. If you're looking for one-on-one coaching, I have opportunities available to work with me on a 3-month or 6-month term. Reach out to me directly, okay? And every single one of you who has registered for the free experience here, you also get a 30-minute bonus call with me, completely free, where I can help you to make a decision. So message me directly. After you registered for the event, message me directly, and then we can book your call. Okay. So decision making is a requirement, but you have to get good at it. Remember that successful people make decisions really fucking fast and they rarely change their mind. Unsuccessful people take a long time to make a decision. They can't figure it out, and then they almost always change their mind. We don't want to do that anymore. All right. So as soon as I made a decision on the side of that road that day, the bridge of incidents started to unfold. It's like the cause and effect. right? I started to move differently. I started to attract differently. I started to think differently. I started to dress differently. I started to do different things with my kids. We started to listen to jungle music. I knew I was going to somewhere warm and tropical for the winter. I was literally acting in the assumption of it already happening, just like I said yesterday, with the certainty that you have when you are literally packing to get your ass on a plane. All right, so the bridge of incidents started to unfold. Everything happened in divine timing. The dad of my 2 older kids showed up out of fucking nowhere. I'm not even kidding. I hadn't heard from him in over a year. Didn't know where he was. He showed up out of nowhere, and I had the opportunity to start to build a friendship with him so that I could, this sounds kind of fucked up, but so that I could get his permission to leave the country with my children. And that's exactly how it happened. He gave me the permission. I knew that I wanted to leave Canada legally. I didn't want to just escape to try to figure out how to leave without his permission. I got his permission, got all our legal papers, our custody shit in order, and I got all the rights to my children so that I could leave the country with them. I gave him the opportunity to come and visit. Very humanely, I did everything really to help him to be able to show up. But remember that he literally came out of nowhere after a year of no communication at all. Over a year, actually. Prior to that, there was another year of no communication at all, no support at all. So you can see the fucking pattern, right? Okay, so I left the door open for him and gave him those opportunities, but he declined it. So everything started happening in the perfect exact timing. Everything. I'm not even joking. Like, I randomly found out that a friend that I had been working with in this company lived down in Costa Rica for part of the year. She was down there. She's like, dude, just come here. I'll come pick you up at the airport. I'm like, you can't even make this shit up. People will brush it off and try to tell you it's coincidence. Of course, it's coincidence. It's not coincidence. We talked about this already, right? That's the bridge of incidents, and that's what happens after you make a decision. It doesn't need to make sense. You don't know the how. And remember we talked about the human being out. If you know how, it's not big enough. If you know how, it's not big enough. So good. So when we are, like we talked about already a little bit, when we have made a decision and that imposter syndrome, that self-sabotage comes in, that's misalignment, right? That's not embodiment. That shows that you're not fully embodied as the version of you who already has it. So we're going to talk about that more tomorrow, bringing that information and bringing this new identity into your body and actually taking new action in a new way. Because if you can actually convince yourself that it's already happening, and by the way, you know that you can convince yourself of anything, right? And like up until now, you have been convincing yourself of a certain thing, and it's in alignment with your certain circumstances and situation right now. You've been probably convincing yourself something that is, like I said, it's I'll give you an example. It's like you've been convincing yourself you're a single mom living in government housing and no one's helping you and you're struggling and there's lack and there's limitation, and you've been convincing yourself that it's not possible and you're not good enough and no one's listening and blah, blah, blah. There's not enough money and there's never enough. And, when you receive money, it comes in and it goes out just as fast. Like you've been convincing yourself the world is a horrible place and there's lack everywhere you look. There's not enough water. There's not enough food. People are struggling and there's war everywhere. You've been convincing yourself of a lot of things up until now, and a lot of it is heavily influenced by your outside surroundings. So as you start to really lean into this work and get serious about studying and working on yourself in this way, in this material, you will notice that you start to naturally, distance yourself from people who believe that life is happening to them. Okay. I'm not to sound culty or anything, but like it will naturally happen that you will begin to be turned off by people who are living in lack and limitation. And that's okay, because it's not your job to convince anyone else of anything else. Okay. It's your job to focus on you and get better and be better and do better and upgrade you and your identity. And what's going to happen as a result is they're actually going to, it's like osmosis, right? It brushes off on them. It rubs off on them. They're watching you and they're inspired by you, even if they don't look like it or feel like it, or even if they don't say anything. And especially if they try to pull you back down, especially if they try to say things like, I remember when I was in the first few months I arrived in Costa Rica, my family used to call me every couple of days and say, when are you coming home? When are you coming home? And then finally I was like, Grandma, what the fuck? Like, what is the deal? Why are you like pushing me to come home all the time? And she's like, who are you to live there? You don't deserve this. You haven't worked hard enough to live in Costa Rica. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. You're just jealous because I work smarter than you, aren't you? I didn't waste my entire life working for the government for some fucking pension to then be able to live my goddamn life when I'm 70 years old and sick and tired and old. That's what it is. You're fucking jealous. Okay, so people, especially people close to you, are gonna start to try to pull you down. That's why mentorship, that's why being in communities like this, in spaces like this, and continuing to study, there's insane amounts of books and mentors and people that are committed to living their best life. In my opinion, there's not the work that we're doing to this extent, in this way. We're paving a new way here, and I absolutely love it. But you get what I'm trying to say, is that staying in mentorship and having especially long-term mentorship is very important when you are quantum leaping, because there will be times where you will go all in. I've had women and people come into my world and go all in, right? And then their term ends and they're like, I want to recalibrate. And they're like, I'm going to take a month off to recalibrate. And that month off, it's like telling the universe that I don't want to grow anymore. This is good for now. I'm good here. What? It's like telling the universe that you're like, I don't want any more abundance right now. I'm good. This is awesome. I'm good here. It doesn't work. It's a continuous expansion. Okay. So that self-sabotage, that imposter syndrome, that conflict and like other people's opinions and perceptions and blah, 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 it's going to come at you. But it's up to you to decide, what are you going to do about it? You going to listen to them, or are you going to actually hold your own? It doesn't mean you need to fight them, right? Or convince them of anything. All it means is you can hold your own energy. And inside you can say, I reject that. Because up until the age of 7, our subconscious mind, our unconscious mind, which is where we basically are, our house of our beliefs, our deep-rooted beliefs, up until the age of 7, that is wide open. We are just accepting everything around us as truth. Think about that for a second. Anything and everything you experienced, everything someone said to you up until the age of around 7, you accepted as truth. It just became part of your program, part of your perception, part of the way that you see the world and the way the world sees you. After the age of 7, our conscious mind begins to form. Our conscious mind has the ability to accept or reject information. The subconscious mind just accepts, okay? So if the conscious mind accepts it, then the subconscious mind will also accept it. That's why even today, you even see adults, like full-grown adults, walking around just fully accepting everything as truth. So for example, you have this conversation with this person who says like, fuck, no one, life is so hard. Money is so hard to come by. I'm running this and this program and I'm doing this and this and nobody comes and nobody's, it's da-da-da-da-da. And you can have the conversation with them and you have two choices. One is to succumb to it and say, fuck, you're right. Oh my gosh, life is hard. Oh my God, there is no money around here. Nobody is watching. Nobody is coming to the events. Come to think of it, I had an event and nobody showed up too. And you can actually accept that as truth. What you're doing there is feeding that lie. Or you can actually reject it and say, I hear you. I hear you. That's so unfortunate. I'm sorry that's happening. I feel that. Yeah. Okay. Yes. But what about this? Okay. If your friend is open-minded and willing to hear you, it's not always the case. You could actually begin to help them to open up their perceptions. This is not an opportunity to succumb to lack and feed into it. It's an opportunity to get fucking creative. Remember the conversation over the past couple of days. There is no such thing as lack. There's no such thing as lack of abundance. The only thing that's lacking is creativity and bravery. Okay, maybe you can help that friend to shift her perception and open up a little bit more. But remember, that is not our job to convince anyone of anything. It's our job to go first. Pave the fucking path in gold and they will follow in their own unique way. Okay. Let's talk about the nervous system and expanding our capacity. This is a deep conversation today, you guys. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow when we talk about embodiment. Okay. So sometimes, all the time actually, we have been normalizing and we have been convincing ourselves of something specific, and it can be a lot of different things. But right now, your current results are normal to you. You have normalized your results, your circumstances. You have normalized, let's say like money is a thing for you, where you have normalized lack. You have normalized that there is not enough. Or maybe you've normalized that there's always just enough. You're like, no matter what I do, there's always just enough. That's because that's where your set point is. It's almost like a thermostat in your house. Okay, it's like a governor in a car. That's your governor. Is just enough. There's always just enough. So no matter what you do, I've seen this over and over and over and over again. In the company I used to sell the product with, I coached women in business for 7 years. I was coaching women in business, and I see this every single day, where they were not willing to change their governor. They were working like a fucking horse, trying to figure it all out, work harder, hustle, do more. That's what I was doing up until I made that decision, by the way, is I was figuring it out and I was working really hard. Okay, but I gotta take a drink of water. That's the 2x hustle, remember? That's the 2x hustle. That's not the 10x. That's not the identity upgrade. That's not the effortless way. Okay, so what they were doing is working so hard, trying to figure it out, and then constantly meeting themselves at that glass ceiling, that governor, and then staying there, like coming back down even. Okay, so what do I mean there is, like, when we've normalized something, it feels safe. Okay, our nervous system is basically like our alarm system for our body. So any moment that the body feels unsafe, the body sends signals to the brain, telling the brain that we are unsafe. The brain triggers the sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight flight, like it's basically our protection, our survival is the fight or flight mode, right? So that is triggered anytime the body feels unsafe. The thing is, though, is that the mind doesn't know, the brain does not know the difference between being chased by a angry tiger and doing something that feels uncomfortable. Okay, so for example, investing in yourself. For example, receiving more money than you've ever received before. Okay, getting paid for your work. If that's not normalized, your brain is going to be telling you all sorts of stories. That's where the imposter syndrome, that's where the self-sabotage comes in. That's where the misalignment happens. When there is incongruency, we want to be congruent. Okay, we want those signals, that frequency that, we're like, oh yeah, I'm calling in, speaking on stages, writing these books, multi-million dollars in my bank account. But then you fucking freeze when you go to send someone a link for $300 on a payment plan for 6 months, right? This is incongruent. This is so important. And what does that mean? It means that the nervous system is normalized and it's regulated to your current results. Anytime that you go and do something else, the nervous system sends that signal to the brain, and the brain decides that we are unsafe, and it puts up arms and it triggers that sympathetic nervous system, the fight, flight, or freeze, right? And in that state, our body's ready to fucking run. Our heart is pumping. Okay, what's not working? Our digestive system is not working. You exist in a state of stress and fight or flight for long enough, your body is not going to be able to bring you back to homeostasis, into that rest and restore where we can actually think, where we can actually dream. That is the parasympathetic nervous system. All right, so if you are trying to figure it out, figuring out how, you're trying to piece it together, you're probably existing in a stressed out state. And it's in that state, I see it as like a brick wall around you. Because you cannot, no matter what, figure it out if you're trying to hustle grind your way there. If you can calm down, calm your nervous system, and especially when you're in a state of need, when you're like, I fucking need money because I need to pay rent. I need to feed my kids. I don't have anything in the fridge right now. Trust me, I've been there. When you're in that state, you are literally building a brick wall around your face, around your whole entire body. When you're operating from need, you are sending out signals of need and lack. And that is what you're going to receive back. So we must learn how to regulate the nervous system first. But most people get stuck there. Most people stay in that feminine regulating energy. I'm soothing, I'm grounded. They start the day with, I'm so grounded, I'm so grateful that I live here and everything's happening for me. And they're in that regulated state and they regulate their nervous system every single day. And then they tell themselves they're doing the work and they wonder why nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. Okay, I know this is a lot. I know I'm speaking really fast as well. We're going to talk about this more tomorrow. It's not just about regulating, it's about expanding. And that's why I've created my own tapping method, EFT tapping method called Expand, the Expand tapping method. Because we need to move past regulating. We need to normalize new situations. You can tell yourself a story all day long, yes. Remember that repetition is really helpful. Repetition, repetition, repetition. But if you don't actually do anything differently, you're wasting your goddamn time. And I'm speaking from experience, years of experience of telling myself it's all happening, time is the only variable, and then nothing happening. Why didn't it happen? It's because I didn't take any action. And I did take some action for sure, but I didn't take the right, stretchy, uncomfortable action. I didn't regulate and expand my nervous system. I didn't change my governor in my vehicle. And therefore, anytime I got uncomfortable, anytime I went to go and take this big action or show up in a new way or say some pretty unhinged shit on social media, my nervous system would catch me and it would talk me out of it. And it would bring me back down like that governor does, right? So, this was a lot of information. What I need you to do today, this is your challenge for today, is to make a decision. Knowing what you know now, knowing that there are no fucking limits, knowing that your mind is a limitation and has limits. Okay, your perception is limited by your mind. I want you to go bigger. I want you to lean into that C-type goal, C-type desire and dream. And I want you to get uncomfortable and I want you to ask yourself, if all things are possible, what do I desire? And make a decision from there. Put that pin on the map. And then listen to what comes up. Listen to it. Don't just sweep it under the rug. We're going to unpack it. We're not going to build a fucking house there and spend a week on healing it. We're going to bring it up to the light. Okay, show yourself. I'm ready to face you. Why do I believe that I can't do this? Those are your golden keys to unlocking your next level. That is your opportunity to get really real with yourself and to shine some light on all the reasons why you believe it's not possible so that you can actually prove to your subconscious mind that it is fucking possible. Because it totally is. You're here for a reason. Everything's happening for you. And this is the work. Okay, we're not going to stay there and try to figure it all out and heal all the shit. We can decide in a moment's notice and we can take new action because that is how we actually expand the nervous system. through actually doing the thing, but doing the thing in a new way as a new version of us. Okay, are we getting this? Is it landing? Oh my gosh. As those of you that are inside the VIP Mini Mind, you get a bonus Best Self Activation Tapping Bundle for free for being inside the VIP Mini Mind. So you will hear more about that inside the Mini Mind. Everyone else, if you have not upgraded yet, why haven't you upgraded yet? If you are declaring that you are a VIP, you're ready to burn the fucking bridges, you're ready to go all in, and you're ready to go deeper into this material with us inside the Mini Mind, we have a call tomorrow, Thursday. And we are going to declare the point of no return. We're going to put a pin on the map. We're going to recommit to our decisions, and we're going to burn the fucking bridges. Okay, so come join us in VIP. You can upgrade at any time. You can come and join us. I would highly suggest you upgrade right now, because otherwise you're going to miss out. We're inside the VIP Mini Mind until Sunday night. I do have some surprises coming their way. So yeah, let me know how this landed. I'm going to write out the homework down below. Go have an incredible day. But I really highly suggest you get out your journal and you start writing out some ideas and make that decision. Make that decision and then listen to what's coming up, because those are your golden keys. Remember, prove yourself wrong. You are fucking infinite, and I'm so excited for everything that you're creating and everything that we have going on here together in this space. All right, see you tomorrow for part 4. Have an incredible, incredible day.